I brushed a crease from my blouse and exhaled slowly before nudging open the polished wooden door to Lucas's upgraded office. The shiny nameplate, Lucas Williams, President, still had that just-installed look, pristine and out of place. Lucas looked up briefly, annoyance flashing in his eyes before he turned back to his screen. "Elena, I'm buried. Make it quick." I offered a rehearsed smile. "Henderson's documents are prepped, and your team's waiting in the boardroom." He waved me off without looking. "Cancel it. I've got fires to put out." "Lucas, the team spent days on this. They're counting on—" "You heard me," he barked, still typing. "It's not up for discussion." I pressed my lips together, gave a short nod, and stepped out. As the door clicked shut, his reflection in the glass showed him already deep in work again. He'd moved on completely, unaware of how his words had landed like stones. Out in the corridor, I leaned on the cool wall, trying to slow the pounding in my chest. This version of Lucas felt like a stranger in a familiar body. The Lucas I married had once sketched buildings late into the night, inspired by people, not power. Now it was like the promotion had rewritten who he was. "Elena, are you all right?" I turned to find Graham, Lucas's father, standing nearby with a furrowed brow. Though technically retired, Graham still dropped by the office a few times a week. I composed myself, offering a faint smile. "All good. Just a hectic start to the day. How are you holding up?" He eyed me quietly. "I'm fine, but you look like you've seen a ghost. What did Lucas say this time?" I paused, caught between defending him and admitting the truth. "It's nothing, really. Lucas is just adjusting to his new role." Graham gave me a knowing look. Adjusting, or letting power cloud his judgment? Lucas's voice thundered through the door before I could speak. "Elena, have you brought the Henderson folder or not?" I snatched the folder and gave Graham a quick, sheepish nod. Guess I'm on call. When I stepped back in, Lucas didn't even look up. "Took you long enough." Dropped them and shut the door. "Lucas," I said carefully, "the team's counting on you for the meeting. They've poured their energy into this—" He slapped the desk hard, making a pen roll off. "Damn it, Elena, I run things now. I decide the priorities, not you, not them. Understood?" I recoiled slightly, stunned by the venom in his tone. "I'm trying to support you, Lucas. This company matters to Graham, and I told him I'd—" "My father's era is over," Lucas cut in icily. "I'm in command now. If that's a problem for you, maybe this isn't the place for you anymore." His words hit like a cold blade across my chest. I looked at him, desperate to find even a flicker of the man I once loved, but all I saw was someone hollowed out by ambition. "All right," I whispered. "The meeting's off." I turned to go, but his phone vibrated loudly on the desk. He answered with a silky tone I hadn't heard in weeks. "Marissa, sweetheart." "Yes, I'm looking forward to our lunch. Can't wait to catch up." My fingers went numb around the doorknob. Marissa. The name meant nothing, but the way he said it made my stomach drop. I looked back, just in time to catch a fleeting smirk on his lips before he sensed my gaze. "What now?" he barked. "Aren't you supposed to be working?" I gave a silent nod and hurried out, my thoughts spiraling. Outside, the team's crestfallen expressions met me as I broke the news. But their disappointment was nothing compared to the sinking feeling in my chest. Who exactly was Marissa, and what kind of business lunch left Lucas grinning like a teenager? As I dropped into my chair, a sinking certainty hit me. Both my marriage and this company were headed straight into a storm we weren't ready to weather. The following morning, I showed up earlier than usual, determined to pick up the pieces. As I passed through the open workspace, the tension felt thick enough to slice through. Conversations stopped mid-sentence, replaced by uneasy glances and stiff greetings. "Morning, Elena," Sarah, our senior designer, asked from her desk. "Will we be rescheduling the meeting?" I hesitated, unsure whether to sugarcoat or speak plainly. "I'm looking into it." Lucas is still settling into his position. Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Settling? That's the word we're going with?" Before I could say more, Lucas's voice thundered from down the hall. "Elena, in here. Now." I rushed over, steeling myself for whatever was coming. He was pacing like a caged animal, fury practically rolling off him. "What is this mess?" he barked, shoving a pile of papers into my hands. I glanced at the first page, dread tightening in my chest. It was an official grievance from the design department, pointing out Lucas's repeated absences from key meetings and the holdup of project sign-offs. "Lucas, they're overwhelmed. Maybe if we hold a meeting to talk things through." "Concerns?" he sneered. "This isn't kindergarten. If they can't keep up, they're free to walk. Lucas, these are people your father relied on for decades. They've helped build this company." A dangerous glint appeared in his eyes. "My father stepped down. I'm in control now, and I won't tolerate insubordination from a pack of overdramatic creatives." I drew a long breath, bracing myself. "Lucas, come on. This isn't you. What's really happening here?" For a split second, the old Lucas surfaced, hesitant, almost human, but it disappeared before I could hold on to it. "There's nothing," he snapped. "Just do what you're told and manage them. That's your job, remember?" His words hit deeper than he realized. I wasn't just staff. I was his wife, his supposed equal. Or so I believed. As I moved toward the door, Lucas's phone lit up and buzzed. He peeked at the screen, a smirk slowly curving his lips. "I'm stepping out for lunch. Don't forward anything." "Lucas, don't forget. We've got the client call at 1. "Push it back," he said, already vanishing down the hallway. I stood frozen, dread twisting deep in my gut. This was no longer just workplace chaos. Something darker was unfolding. Back at my desk, I dived into crisis mode, calming furious clients, repairing morale among the team. By mid-afternoon, I was drained and tightly wound. A soft tap against the edge of my desk snapped me out of my thoughts. I glanced up and found Graham standing there, worry shadowing his features. "Elena, sweetheart, mind if we talk for a sec?" I nodded quickly, thankful for the momentary escape. Graham took a seat across from me, his gaze gentle yet probing. "Word's been getting around," he murmured. "About Lucas, about the way he's handling things here." I felt a lump rise in my throat, uncertain how to answer. Graham had handed over his legacy to his son. How could I admit it was unraveling before our eyes? "Graham, ciao kong biet." He raised a hand gently, stopping me. "You don't need to shield him, Elena. Not from me. I've sensed things weren't right for a while. I just kept hoping he'd grow into the role." My eyes stung with the threat of tears. "I'm at a loss," I whispered. "He won't hear me out. He's shutting everyone out." Graham leaned forward, giving my hand a firm, reassuring squeeze. "We'll get through this, Elena. You're not alone. This business, this family, they're everything I've built my life around. I won't stand by and watch Lucas tear it down." Just then, Lucas's voice thundered across the office space again. "Where the hell is everyone? We don't pay people to sit around." Graham and I locked eyes in silent understanding. The worst was yet to come. As I rose to confront whatever mess Lucas had created this time, Graham's words echoed in my ears. you're not alone. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt a flicker of hope. But when I turned the corner and caught sight of Lucas, his tie crooked, a faint smudge of lipstick staining his collar, the fragile hope I'd held on to shattered in an instant. The man I once loved was fading before my eyes, and I couldn't do a damn thing to stop it. I dragged myself up the driveway, drained from yet another chaotic day of cleaning up Lucas's mess. All I craved was a hot soak and the comfort of wine. But just as I reached for my keys, the front door creaked open. A glamorous blonde emerged, lipstick smudged, blouse misaligned as if fastened in haste. She stopped cold, eyes widening the moment she recognized me. "You must be Elena," she said smoothly, regaining her composure almost instantly. "I'm Marissa, Lucas's consultant." My stomach dropped as the name slammed into my memory. Marissa, the name from the phone call, the lipstick, the change in Lucas. Everything snapped into horrifying clarity. "Consultant?" I croaked, barely finding my voice. Marissa's lips curled into a slow, feline grin. "Oh yes, Lucas and I have been intimately collaborative. He's quite inspiring, in so many ways." Before I could react, Lucas stepped into view, his face drained of color. "Elena, I didn't expect you so soon." I studied his face, desperate to find guilt, remorse, anything. But all I found was fear and fast spinning gears behind his eyes. "Marissa was on her way out," he said hastily, guiding her toward the car. Their eyes locked in a charged moment before she got in and drove off, leaving me behind. With my husband, the stranger I'd once vowed to spend forever with. I walked past Lucas without a word, my thoughts spinning out of control. He trailed behind me, already scrambling to justify. "Elena, it's not like that. Marissa's just consulting on some pitches. We were discussing strategy." I spun around, fury crackling beneath my skin. Don't you dare insult me with more lies, Lucas. Not now." He hesitated, the mask slipping. "I never planned for this. It just spiraled." "It just happened?" I snapped. "Like how you just happened to ignore every duty you have? Or the way you accidentally demean everyone who built this place with us?" Lucas's jaw clenched. "You don't get the weight I'm carrying. Dad dumped an empire on my shoulders overnight. I'm doing everything I can to stay afloat. And this is your best? Sleeping with your consultant while the company burns?" It's not like that," he stammered, frustration carved into his features. "Things got out of hand, but we can fix it, together." I let out a cold, broken laugh. "We? There's no we left, Lucas. You buried that with every lie." Saying it out loud sealed it. It was the truth. Everything we built, marriage, business, trust, had crumbled, wrecked by his betrayal and my refusal to see it coming. Lucas's phone buzzed again. He checked it, guilt flickering across his face. "It's her, isn't it? Marissa," I said softly. He said nothing, just silence. "Elena, don't walk away. Let me explain." But I was finished. No more forgiveness, no more denial. I snatched my keys and headed for the exit. "Elena, where are you going?" he shouted behind me. "Somewhere far from you," I snapped. "I need space and clarity." Driving through the city's dimming streets, I blinked through tears. How did we spiral this far? The man I once believed in, the dream we created together, it was unraveling before my eyes. My phone buzzed. Graham's name lit up the screen. I hesitated, then picked up. "Elena, is everything okay? You left so suddenly." The genuine worry in his voice cracked something open in me. I couldn't hold it anymore. I told him everything. Lucas's infidelity, the chaos at work, the ache inside me. Graham said nothing, just listened. When I finally stopped, his voice was gentle. "Oh, Elena, I'm sorry. I never meant for things to end up like this. I placed too heavy a burden on Lucas. I see that now. Don't blame yourself, I said firmly. Lucas chose this path. No one forced him. Maybe, he said quietly. But now it's our turn to decide what comes next. Come by my place. We'll talk. Make a plan. As I turned down the familiar street to Graham's, a quiet stillness settled over me. The truth was out. The betrayal no longer hid in shadows. But I wasn't alone in it anymore. And for the first time in what felt like ages, I felt my spine straighten. Whatever storm came next, I'd face it on my feet. No more defending the indefensible. No more illusions. It was time to reclaim my voice. And for the company I helped build from the ground up. I walked into the office, chin lifted, ignoring the stares and murmurs. After last night's talk with Graham, I was ready for the fight ahead. But the moment I turned the corner, I felt the ground shift beneath me. Lucas stood in the center of the bullpen, his hand resting possessively on Marissa's waist. She wore a fitted pencil skirt and silk blouse, an outfit eerily reminiscent of my own wardrobe not long ago. "Team, meet Marissa Rath," Lucas declared, his voice slicing through the silence. "She's joining us as a strategic consultant," he added, smug. My pulse roared as our eyes met across the room. He looked at me with thinly veiled defiance, daring me to react. Marissa's smirk was triumphant. She wore both her job title and Lucas's attention like a trophy. Sarah, our head designer, finally broke the silence. "But Lucas, we already have Elena overseeing this." "Elena will help Marissa transition into the role," Lucas cut in, voice syrupy sweet. "Right, sweetheart?" Every head in the room turned to me. I could feel their sympathy and their hunger for drama, like heat on my skin. Drawing a deep breath, I forced a smile that felt brittle on my lips. "Of course," I said through clenched teeth. "Welcome to the team, Marissa." The hours that followed were a haze of fake smiles and veiled barbs. I escaped to my office, pretending to work while my thoughts looped Lucas's betrayal like a broken record. A soft knock broke my spiral. Graham stood in the doorway, worry etched into every line of his face. "Elena, I just found out. Are you okay?" I shook my head slowly, swallowing hard. "I don't know how much more of this I can take, Graham. It's like Lucas is determined to hurt me in every way possible." Graham's jaw clenched, his voice low and deadly calm. "This madness stops today. I'm convening the board. Lucas has crossed the line for the last time." Before I could speak, the door flew open and Lucas stormed in, fury written all over his face. "Are you trying to undermine me, Dad?" he snapped. "This is my company now. You can't just walk in and pull rank." "That's enough," Graham thundered, cutting through Lucas's tirade. "You've turned this legacy into a circus, and it ends now. There will be consequences." Lucas's smirk was venomous. "Consequences? I haven't even warmed up." He yanked an envelope from his blazer and slammed it onto my desk. "My first executive decision," he sneered. "You're welcome." My fingers shook as I tore the envelope open. Divorce papers, signed, sealed, cold. "You're firing me?" I whispered, the words tasting like betrayal. Lucas chuckled, an empty, hollow sound. "Firing you? No, darling. I'm liberating you. From the job, from this marriage, from me." My eyes stayed fixed on the ink and signatures, the weight of years collapsing into legal print. "Lucas, for God's sake," Graham pleaded. "Elena is this company. Without her, you'll burn it all down." "Without her, we'll finally evolve," Lucas barked. "You and your old school methods are dragging us down. Marissa and I are the future." As their voices clashed, a stillness bloomed within me. I glanced from the papers to Lucas, a stranger in a familiar body. And in that instant, clarity struck. "I'll do it," I said, voice calm but unyielding. Their argument died instantly as both men stared at me in disbelief. Lucas was the first to regain composure, his smirk smug and satisfied. "Knew you'd come around, Elena. This is for the better, you'll see." I held his gaze. "You're absolutely right, Lucas. But your version of best isn't mine." My hand didn't tremble as I signed. In fact, each stroke of ink felt like freedom. Lucas had ended us, but I was reclaiming myself. "I resign," I said firmly as I stood. "Effective now." Lucas's smirk vanished. "What? You can't just walk away." "Watch me," I cut in. "You'll need all the luck in the world running this place without me." I turned to leave, dignity intact, when Graham's voice called out behind me. "Elena, wait!" I stopped and turned. In Graham's eyes, I saw something new: respect and resolve. "I have an offer," he said gently, "one that could turn all this around and give you the fresh start you've earned." For the first time in ages, hope flickered within me. Whatever the future held, I'd face it on my terms. In Graham's warm study, I sat across from him, hands curled around a cup of tea as the past week's chaos replayed in my mind. "Elena," Graham said, steady and sincere, "I'd like you to join my nonprofit architecture trust. We need someone like you, smart, principled, unshakable." My eyes widened. "But Graham, what happens to the company?" "Lucas chose his path," Graham said, sadness flickering in his eyes. "Now you need to choose yours." Just as I was thinking it over, my phone lit up, Sarah's name flashing across the screen. "SOS. Total chaos. Lucas and Marissa are ruining everything. We need you back, Elena." My chest tightened. Even after all that happened, I still cared. About the team, the company, the legacy we built. "I just need a little time," I told Graham. He nodded gently. "Of course. Just don't wait too long. Lucas is already tearing things down faster than we imagined." The next day I gathered my courage and returned, to pack up and say goodbye. The air was heavy, and conversations ceased the moment I walked by. While I was boxing up my things, Sarah appeared, worry etched across her face. "Elena, thank God, everything's falling apart. Lucas shut down major contracts, and Marissa's reshuffling departments like it's a game. Clients are pulling out, and—" "I don't work here anymore," I said sharply. "It's not my problem anymore, Sarah." Sarah's eyes pleaded. "You're really leaving? What about the rest of us? What about this place?" Before I could reply, Lucas's voice thundered from down the hall. "Elena, what the hell are you doing here?" He burst in, Marissa gliding in smugly behind him. "Just packing," I said evenly. "Don't worry, I won't stay long." Lucas's expression darkened. "Fine. The sooner you're out, the smoother things will be. Marissa can easily take over your role." I laughed, unable to hide the sarcasm. "Really? Is that why clients are backing out and the staff's in total disarray?" Marissa stepped forward, her red-painted nails pressing into Lucas's arm like a silent claim. "Just so you know, I'm doing great. Lucas says I have natural leadership skills." "Of course he does," I replied calmly. "But running an architectural firm takes more than flattery and flair." Lucas's face turned red, his hands gripping the chair. "That's enough. Leave, Elena. You're not welcome here anymore." Just as I lifted my box, a loud commotion broke out in the hallway. Graham walked in, flanked by two board executives. "What's happening here?" Lucas shouted. Graham spoke, voice hard as steel. "Emergency meeting, Lucas. Your reckless choices have put the firm in jeopardy. We're here to evaluate your role as president." Lucas turned pale, his earlier bravado vanishing. "You can't do this. I'm the one in control now." "We'll see about that," a board member said grimly. As they walked toward the conference room, Graham met my gaze. "Elena, we could use your input in this meeting, if you're willing." I hesitated, torn between walking away or standing up for what I helped build. Lucas sneered. "She doesn't even work here anymore. She has no say." Something snapped inside me. I put down the box and stood tall. "Actually, I think I'll stay for the meeting. Looks like I'm the only one who still understands how this company works." Marissa gasped. Lucas stammered, but Graham smiled with pride. As everyone filed into the conference room, a powerful sense of resolve surged within me. This wasn't about me anymore. It was about defending Graham's legacy and the people who gave their all to this place. Whatever came next, I would fight, not for Lucas or the past we shared, but for this company and the people I cared about. Tension filled the room as I presented the clear, brutal truth of the company's condition. Spreadsheets littered the table, every page a testament to Lucas's failed leadership. "In just 1 month, 3 major clients have left," I said, keeping my voice even though my heart pounded. "Our reputation is plummeting, and employee morale is the lowest it's ever been." Lucas's face hardened, a mix of anger and disbelief. "This is nonsense. We're doing fine. Marissa and I are working on new strategies that will drive us deeper into disaster, Lucas." Graham cut in sharply. "The numbers don't lie." I saw board members exchanging uneasy glances. This was the turning point. Marissa, who had insisted on being here, suddenly chimed in. "But Lucas has been trying so hard. He stays late at the office every night. He's up late every night thinking of new strategies," Marissa added quickly. I couldn't help but let out a mocking laugh. "You call that commitment? All I see is a company in turmoil, and a president too distracted by his personal life to do his job." Lucas's eyes flashed with fury. "You don't know anything, Elena. You're just bitter I've moved on." "Moved on?" I laughed, utterly incredulous. "You didn't just wreck our marriage. You're dragging this company down with you. That's not moving forward, Lucas. That's self-destruction." Mr. Hawkins, the eldest board member, finally spoke up after a pause. "I believe things are clear enough. The company needs a decisive step, right now." Lucas's face turned pale. "What are you saying?" "What I'm saying," Mr. Hawkins continued, "is that we must consider a leadership change, effective immediately." The boardroom descended into chaos. Lucas yelled, Marissa broke into tears, and the board erupted in debate. Amid the uproar, I sat in silence, an unexpected calm washing over me. Suddenly, Lucas turned to me, his eyes frantic. "Elena, please, help me. Tell them I can fix this, that we can work together again, just like before." I looked at him, the man who had once been my partner in every way. For a brief second, I saw the old Lucas, scared, fragile, asking for help. But then Marissa's possessive grip on his arm snapped me back to reality. "I'm sorry, Lucas," I said gently. "You made your choice. Now you face the consequences." Graham rose, his voice slicing through the clamor. "I propose a vote on whether Lucas remains president. Those in favor of his removal, raise your hand." Time slowed as hands lifted. 1, 2, 3. The majority was undeniable. Lucas's face collapsed as the reality of it hit him. "This isn't fair," Marissa screamed. "You can't do this to us." But it was over. Lucas was out, and the company I loved was teetering on the edge. As the meeting wrapped up, Graham quickly approached me. "Elena, we need you. The company needs someone like you. Will you come back and help us start over? I wavered, torn between saving what once mattered and carving a new path for myself. Before I could respond, Lucas appeared, his eyes tired, pleading. Elena, I'm begging you. Don't let this end like this. You know me. You know I can fix this. If you give me one more chance. I looked between Lucas and Graham, the weight of their expectations heavy on my shoulders. The fate of the company, and my own life, hinged on this decision. In that instant, I knew. This wasn't just about business. It was about reclaiming my worth, everything I had poured my soul into. I took a deep breath, heart pounding, and chose my path. Whatever lay ahead, I was ready. I stepped up to the podium. Facing a sea of expectant faces, the company-wide meeting was convened to calm the storm. As interim CEO, the next step was mine to define. As many of you know, I began, heart racing but voice firm. These past weeks have been a storm, but today marks a turning point. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted Lucas quietly standing in the back, drawn and worn. Marissa was gone. Yes, we've lost clients. We've stumbled. But the heart of this company, you, with your talent, passion, and drive, remains intact. A quiet wave of agreement rippled through the room. I calmly laid out steps to rebuild client trust and reinforce our financial base. Hope began to flicker in the eyes before me. Suddenly, Lucas's shout broke the silence. It's all made up. Heads turned as Lucas stormed forward. Elena set all this up to steal the company from me. The room filled with whispers. I gripped the podium, steadying my breath. Lucas, please, not now. This is the perfect time, he shouted, flushed. You turned my father against me, tricked the whole board. That's enough, Graham's firm voice echoed. He stepped forward, resting a steady hand on my shoulder. Lucas, you brought this on yourself. Your choices led us here. Lucas looked frantically between us. Dad, don't let her. This is our family legacy. Graham's face softened. Son, legacy isn't just a name. It's about integrity, hard work, and respect for our people. Elena gets that. You should too. Silence fell. All eyes were on us, waiting to see how this family storm would settle. Lucas slumped, the fight gone. So that's it? I'm out? I stepped off the podium and approached Lucas carefully. It doesn't have to end here, Lucas. You can still prove yourself, if you're willing to earn it. For a brief second, I glimpsed the man I had once fallen for, fragile and lost. But then he shut it all down. I don't need either of your pity. I'll build my own empire. Stronger, better than this. With those words, he turned and left, leaving the room heavy with silence. I returned to the podium, feeling the weight of every eye watching me. This moment would shape not only my leadership, but the fate of the company itself. I know what just happened was hard to watch, I began, voice a little unsteady, but it shows exactly why change is needed. This company can't revolve around ego or blinding ambition. It's about unity, us building something meaningful together. I paused, letting my gaze meet the mix of doubt and hope among my colleagues. I won't pretend it'll be easy. The road ahead is long, but I promise every choice I make will serve the best interest of this company and of you, the ones who truly give it life. As I went on detailing our future steps, I felt the burden easing. The storm had passed. Lucas was out. His final blow hadn't landed. Now, I could lead the way I believed in. But when I met Graham's gaze, the flicker of worry in his eyes reminded me a new chapter was just beginning. The true test of my leadership and our company's strength was still ahead. Half a year had slipped by since that pivotal meeting, and I found myself staring out the large window of my new workspace, taking in the city's ever-changing skyline. The view seemed transformed, not merely because I now worked from Graham's nonprofit foundation office, but because my perspective had shifted entirely. A gentle knock at the door broke my thoughts. "Come in," I said, turning away from the window. Sarah stepped in, practically glowing. "You'll want to hear this. Henderson just signed the deal." I blinked, then let out a laugh. "Seriously? That's incredible." The Henderson project embodied everything I had always aspired to: sustainable, forward-thinking design that made a difference. "That's amazing news, Sarah. I bet the whole team is over the moon." "I know," she nodded. "And there's more." I crossed my arms, bracing myself. "Go on." Sarah inhaled deeply. "Lucas's firm, it's officially filed for bankruptcy under Chapter 11. It happened this morning." I drew in a breath, a strange mix of sadness and inevitability settling over me. I had once imagined we'd rise together. Now, he had fallen, alone. "And Lucas?" I asked quietly. "Gone. No one's seen or heard from him. But Marissa, she came here today. She asked if we were hiring, said he left her with nothing." I slowly lowered myself into the chair, trying to absorb everything. The man I had married was now a ghost of his former self, swallowed by pride and fear. As though sensing my thoughts, Graham appeared at the door. "I just heard," he said gently. "Are you holding up okay?" "I will be," I answered, giving him a tired but honest smile. Eventually, Graham nodded slowly, a quiet blend of pride and melancholy in his gaze. "What you've built here is impressive, Elena. This new branch of the trust, the direction you've taken, it's truly transformative." "We did it together," I gently reminded him. "Your guidance made all the difference." He dismissed my words with a small shake of his head. "You turned crisis into purpose, Elena. Not many people can do that." Once they stepped out, silence settled around me, inviting old memories to resurface. I thought about Lucas, the man I once trusted, and the vision we once painted for our future. Marissa came to mind too, how chasing prestige and power had only led to isolation. Mostly, though, I reflected on who I used to be, a woman afraid to take up space. That timid version of me felt distant, like someone I barely recognized. My phone vibrated, jolting me. A message from an unknown contact. "Lucas here. Can we meet?" My chest tightened as I stared at the message, unsure how to feel. Not long ago, I might have said yes, without hesitation. But now, I took a steady breath and typed back, "I'm sorry, Lucas. That door is closed. I truly wish you well." When I hit send, it felt like cutting the final tie to a life that no longer fit. The road ahead felt wide and open, filled with hope and opportunity. A knock broke my reflection. It was the team, ready to dive into the Henderson blueprint. "Come in," I welcomed them with a grin. "Let's build something meaningful." As ideas bounced between us across the table, I felt deeply thankful. This was exactly where I was meant to be. I was no longer tethered to Lucas or anyone else for identity. I stood grounded, finally surrounded by those who truly saw and appreciated the real me. The path had been rough, but it brought me to this place of clarity, conviction, and inner strength. Glancing around at my enthusiastic team, I felt it in my core. The most meaningful chapter was just beginning. "Okay then," I said with a grin, marker in hand. "Time to shape what's next. Together." As we mapped out our ideas, it hit me. This moment, this mission, this life reclaimed from ruin, was my real happy ending. Not the stuff of fairy tales, but something richer. a beginning born from my own courage and creation. A new challenges would still come, but now I felt prepared to face them head on, because I finally understood something crucial. My value didn't hinge on anyone's approval or betrayal. It stemmed from within, the quiet strength I'd unearthed through adversity. And that, I knew with certainty, was the greatest triumph I could ever claim.